All right, today we are stepping into a house of secrets, a place where the past isn't just buried, it's literally on tape. Get ready for a deep dive into the absolutely gripping thriller, The House on Cedar Lane.
You know the setup, right? A perfect house, a perfect husband, a seemingly perfect life. But as we're about to find out, hiding behind every perfect facade, there's always a perfect lie.
Okay, let's jump right into the action. Picture this. You're in a car, and a blizzard is absolutely raging outside. We've got Trisha and her husband Ethan, and they're on their way to see a house. But things are already tense. She's saying, "Let's turn back, this is crazy." But he is just dead set on pushing forward.
So, the house on the lane, a missing psychiatrist, a very strange house, and one terrible storm. And they finally make it. But this place, it's not just any house. It belonged to Dr. Adrian Hale, a pretty famous psychiatrist who just vanished years ago. Poof, gone. And yeah, her boyfriend was the prime suspect, but the case just completely went cold.
And this is where it all goes sideways. The storm gets even worse, and they have no choice but to break into the house for shelter. Inside, it's like a time capsule. Everything's still there, just covered in this thick layer of dust. The power's on, which is weird, but of course there's zero cell service. Oh, and the asking price? Suspiciously low. It sinks in pretty quick. They are not going anywhere tonight.
So that brings us to The Doctor's Tapes, a hidden room, and voices from the past. With literally nowhere else to go, Trisha starts exploring this creepy, silent house. And what she finds behind a dusty old bookcase, well, that's where our story really kicks into high gear. She finds this small, hidden room, and inside, shelves. Just shelves filled with old audio cassette tapes. Every single one is a recorded therapy session, all neatly labeled with patient initials and dates. We're talking Dr. Hale's entire professional life, just sitting there on tape.
So what do you do when you find a room full of secrets? You find a tape player. Trisha finds one in the study. She grabs a tape, and she hits play. And just like that, we're going back in time.
And then we hear it. The voice of Dr. Adrian Hale herself. And let me tell you, she's not just a name in a cold case file anymore. She sounds panicked. She's in serious trouble. She says, quote, "I'm being blackmailed by a patient. He has a video of me. It could wreck my career." A patient she calls EJ.
Okay, now let's snap back to the present day. Can you even imagine? Trisha is sitting there in this dusty, creepy house, listening to this bombshell. She is absolutely captivated. She's literally holding the key to this whole mystery in her hands.
This brings us to the patient and the boyfriend. Because as Trisha secretly listens to tape after tape, she's unraveling two very different lives. She gets completely obsessed with these two people who seem to dominate Dr. Hale's final days. A deeply troubled patient and a new man in her life.
So first up, the patient. She's only identified as PL, and her story is just horrific. She's supposedly the sole survivor of a brutal cabin massacre that killed her fiancé and all of her best friends. But then you see Dr. Hale's private note here. "I had no clue she saw through my entire charade." That is a really weird thing for a therapist to write about a traumatized patient, don't you think?
And when Trisha listens to the tape, PL sounds completely broken. You can just hear the survivor's guilt in her voice. She's crying, saying, "It's not fair that they're all gone and I'm still here. I should be dead too." I mean, she sounds like the perfect victim.
At the same time, the tapes reveal these two totally opposite men in Dr. Hale's life. On one side, you've got EJ, the dangerous patient who's blackmailing her. And on the other, there's Luke Strauss, an IT guy she met. He's kind, supportive, a totally fresh start. She's literally living in fear and falling in love at the exact same time.
But let's not forget what's happening in the present. While Trisha is lost in this past drama, what's her perfect husband, Ethan, up to? He keeps disappearing, and he has this weird obsession with a big portrait of Dr. Hale, constantly taking it down and then hanging it back up. What is that about? Trisha starts to wonder what he's hiding. Okay, buckle up. This next part is about a shared secret. And believe me when I say the truth is way, way worse than any lie. This is the point where everything, the past, the present, it's all about to just collide.
Suddenly, Trisha hears a noise. There's someone else in the house, and it is not a ghost. It's Luke Strauss, Adrian's boyfriend from the tapes. He claims he's been living there, in secret, ever since she disappeared. Trisha just confronts him, point blank. You're Luke. You're Adrian Howell's boyfriend.
And right then, bam, the first massive twist hits. As Luke is talking, something clicks in Trisha's head. A memory surfaces, and she thinks to herself, I had to do what she asked of me. I had no choice. Why? Because Trisha isn't Trisha. She is Patricia Lawton. She is PL from the tapes.
And that whole cabin massacre story? It was a complete and total lie. It was no random attack. Patricia found out her fiancé was cheating on her with her best friend. So she killed them. All of them. The sole survivor story was just this brilliantly crafted deception to cover her tracks.
But Dr. Hale, she wasn't fooled for a second. She saw right through Patricia's act. But instead of calling the cops, she played a game. She blackmailed Patricia, basically saying, help me get rid of my own blackmailer, EJ, and I won't tell anyone you're a mass murderer. So Patricia does it. She drugs EJ and delivers him to the doctor. But then, to truly secure her freedom, she silenced the one person who knew her secret for good. She murdered Dr. Hale.
Now, just when you think there can't possibly be any more twists, we get the final piece of the puzzle. Ethan. Patricia confesses her entire murderous past to him, and instead of being horrified, he confesses his own dark secret. He says of his mother, she was yelling at me about what a terrible son I was, and I couldn't help myself. I pushed her down the stairs, all for the insurance money.
And just like that, two killers have found their soulmates. But there's one loose end. Luke, the witness hiding in the house. So, in this truly chilling moment of connection, they decide to kill him together, sealing their twisted bond with a new, shared murder.
And so we arrive at their happily ever after? This is what they call our dream house. I mean, after a night of confession and murder, what does life look like for Patricia and Ethan? Well, it looks like they get to build their dream life right on the foundation of all their crimes.
And here's how they build that perfect life. First, they murder Luke and bury his body in the garden. Then, they use Ethan's insurance money to put in a cash offer on Dr. Hale's house. A year later, their daughter Delilah is born, and now, in the present day, they're living a charmed life with another baby on the way. Unbelievable.
It all seems so perfect, but our story ends with one final, deeply unsettling thought from Patricia. She's watching Ethan play with their daughter in the garden, right over Luke's unmarked grave, and she thinks to herself, if somebody came around and started asking questions, I'm not sure how he would hold up. A perfect house, a perfect husband, and a secret that's just waiting to be dug up.